For class today, we are doing lesson 3 and chapter 2. Please, let's get out our inquiry notebooks and please go grab a hard textbook. Perfect. Once you get inquiry journals out, I need you to turn to pages 70 and 71. And then let's break it down. Our question for lesson 3 is, how did European exploration affect the Americas? So, what am I learning about? You are going to be learning about how the European exploration and the settlement affected the Americas. And the reason that you are learning this is that we are going to learn about the European exploration and the settlements in Americas. It will help you understand how the colonial period began and how Native Americans were impacted. So we're going to learn how people that came overseas and how they impacted the Native American culture. So, let's break down this map on your inquiry journals on page 72 and 73. So, a shortcut to Asia. Please be following along in your books as I read it. Many of the European explorers who reached North America between the late 1400s and the early 1600s were really trying to get to Asia. Trade with Asia could be very profitable, especially when spices were involved. However, getting to Asia by sailing around Africa was difficult and dangerous. European rulers wanted to see if there was another way around. The voyages shown on the map on the next page were paid for by the governors of England, France, and the Netherlands. The voyages took place between the years of 1492 and 1611. So we are going to inspect the map. So with that being said, let's look at it. So observe the map and what does this map show? So what part are we looking at? Where are we at in the world? Exactly, we're in North America. Okay, so what do you think this right here, this little key is telling us? So what is important about that key? Yes, it's showing us different voyages that the people have took to get to Asia. Do you think it was possible for them to get across America to Asia? Yeah, I don't think so, huh? Because we have so much land right here. Perfect. Okay, so we read and we examined all the keys. Mark the key information on the map in the text. So therefore, we need to get out our pencils. After you get out your pencils, the first thing I want you to do is circle important words and dates. After that, I want you to go and circle names of explorers. So go around and circle the names of the explorers on this map. And then any type of major labels that are on this map. So I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to do so. I'll be coming around and checking as you guys are doing so. Okay, perfect. You guys did awesome. You did awesome. So, what do you think the Northwest Passage was? What do you think it was? Okay. Yeah, maybe. Perfect. What do you think? Do you think the explorers were succeeded finding it? And we already talked about that, right? We were thinking, no, they probably weren't. They probably weren't successful in exploring or trying to find the Northwest Passage through the Americas. Okay, inquiry journal pages 74 and 75. So we are going to be looking at a different map, but there's something missing. Yeah, what's missing on this map?
Grab a drink, use the restroom.
Yes, exactly. Our key is not filled out. So with that being said, we need to analyze and then we got to follow these steps. So step number 1, we need to read the title of the map. So this should give you a good idea of most important information that the map maker is trying to provide. So with this being said, what do you think we can title this map? Right? We have to look back at the key before. So that's how we would title it. Number 2, let's read the labels on the map. But we don't have labels, so we have to make our own, right? So we have to go back and look at who explored this area, who explored up this area, and who explored that area. And then number 4, I went ahead. Number 3, look for any places on the map shown with dots or other markers. So, major key points in this map that we're looking at? Yeah, like New Amsterdam, Fort Orange, Quebec, Montreal, they are all highlighted. Those are probably major what on this map? Yes, major towns or major colonies at this time. Number 4, identify the compass rose and the scale map. So here's our compass rose, right? So what's our scale map? Where's that at? Perfect, yep, it's right down here. So look for the key map. As you are filling this out, make sure you go back and look at the other page, definitely for finding out what explorers did what. And filling in the title, I'll give you about 2 minutes to do so. Perfect, you guys are awesome. Okay, so please follow along. I know that this can get kind of boring, but you may get out a piece of paper, a pencil, and you may take notes as I'm reading through to help you with your assignment after the lesson. So, the search for the Northwest Passage. So we have England, France, and Netherlands, Portugal, and Sweden, 5 countries. Also sent explorers around the world at this time. The other nations focused on exploring the east coast of North America. These nations were trying to find a route to Asia through North America by using waterways such as bays and straits. So in a sense, if you look at this map up here, they were going through all these tiny little bays to get around North America, These nations were trying to find a route to Asia through North America by using waterways such as bays and straits. This route was supposed to be called the Northwest Passage, So John Corbett, in 1497, just 5 years after Columbus's first voyage, John Corbett set sail on a voyage across the Atlantic. Corbett was an Italian explorer that received permission from the English to explore the unknown lands to the west. Corbett reached what is present-day Canada. He found huge quantities of fish in the coastal waters. Dried fish was an important source of food at that time. Unfortunately, Calvert disappeared during his next voyage, but Portugal sent people to settle in Newfoundland, the area that Corbett found. So why do you think dried fish was an important source of food at that time? Why was it important? Yeah, it was easier to dry fish, right? And then they had something to eat on while they were trying to survive getting from one place to the next back then. This were weird names. Giovanni di Vazzuno. We're gonna go with that. So, he was supported by the King of France to travel up the Atlantic coast. He explored what is now New York Harbor and the Hudson River. He had friendly encounters with the Native Americans on his journey. And he went to Brazil and found a type of wood that was used for creating textiles. Okay, next person, Henry Hudson. The Dutch East India Company hired Hudson in 1608 to find a shorter route to Asia. In 1609, they reached the same area that Vazzuno reached. Hudson sailed far up what is now the Hudson River, which is named after him. He concluded that it was not the Northwest Passage. His effort to find the Northwest Passage ended in a disaster. He sailed into the Hudson Bay and became trapped in the ice during winter. His crew had to eat spoiled food. When spring finally came, the crew took over the ship. They put Hudson and his son on a rowboat, and they never heard from them again. The crew was arrested upon their return to England. So, New Netherland. In 1621, a group of Dutch merchants settled in what is now present-day New York. The first settlements were established along the Hudson River. They named this colony New Amsterdam. The Dutch colonists benefits from the rich resources in that area, such as fur from the Native Americans. Dutch settlers created profitable trading posts in the Manhattan area. So the New Netherlands demographics. So the new Dutch settlers offered the Native people in this area many resources to recognize their settlement. However, many of the native people did not believe they were selling in territory rather than sharing it. This territory would become one of the most diverse European colonies in America. People of different ethnics and backgrounds were allowed to settle here. So, if we look at this map, this is kind of like where they settled at. And anybody was allowed to settle. It didn't matter what race you were or what country you came from. The New Netherland problems. So New Netherland was one of the first colonies to bring enslaved Africans to North America. Fighting began to occur in the early 1640s. The governor at that time was unhappy that the native people decided to leave that area and escape slavery. So it wasn't even just the African Americans that they were enslaving, they were also enslaving the Native Americans. But the Native Americans they knew the land, right? Yeah, because they lived there for many, many years. So they knew how to escape and probably where to hide out, right? Unlike the African Americans, who that's not their world, right? They came from Africa, and the other colonists who came from a whole different country. So, with that being said, the Native Americans in this area were leaving to escape the areas because the Northeast woodland groups were looking to expand their territories. As a result, Dutch settlers and native people began to fight. Both sides had hundreds that died. So I want you to think about that. Remember the book Sign of the Beaver, right? And that's where our friend was at. He was in the Northeast woodlands, right? And he came across that Native American boy, and they became best of friends. So what happened at the end of that story? Right, they wanted to take him with him because the chief thought that his dad died, right? And they were taking him to come with me. And what was the reason why they were moving away from their land in the first place? Exactly, because the settlers were coming in. So, it was true, they did end up leaving because of this reason. So, growing pains. As the English colonies in Northern America grew, some English leaders became interested in New Netherlands. This resulted in many ones. One in which the King of England sent 4 warships to North Amsterdam Harbor. The King's troops demanded surrender. Most stayed in New Netherlands under the British rule. So then and now. So although there is a Northwest Passage from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, it was nearly impossible to pass through during the age of the European exploration. This is because the passage lies far from the north and was usually covered by the Arctic ice. The illustration of the upper right shows a Dutch explorer stuck in the ice in 1500s. So that's them trying to get through the Northwest Passage, but since it was so far up north, they ended up getting stuck in that ice, so they couldn't get out. But with the gradual melting of the Arctic ice cap in the recent years, the Northwest Passage is now nearly ice-free. During the summer, ships are able to travel through the passage in warmer months. The photograph at the lower right shows the Northwest Passage in 2016. So, beforehand, I'm guessing that this might be where like a lot of the ice would be at, right? And the ships got stuck in there. And that would be terrible to get stuck up there. So, the founding of New France. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I'm hitting 15 minutes, but obviously would keep going with this presentation, and I'm just going to pause there. And now that we're done with this presentation, I would like you guys to go grab your U.S. history books, and with the person that you're sitting next to, you are going to read chapter 3, lesson 3. Okay, I need to go back one. Okay, so after we get done pair reading in our groups, you are going to go to page 76 and 77. With this being said, you are going to write about it. You're going to write a narrative from a point of view of either a European explorer mentioned in this lesson, or a Native American person describing the first encounter with a European. Consider how the goals of the explorer of the expedition experience or the native person might have affected this encounter. So since we are doing our final project on a Spanish explorer, I want you guys to take the point of view. I want you to grab your pencils, and I need you guys to cross off the European explorer. And I want you to circle Native American person, okay? So you are going to write like a narrative. If you were a Native American in this time and you came across a settler or explorer that were coming to Americas, how would have you reacted? Would you have been nice? Would you have been rude? Would you have been to share your things, right? And consider how the goals or not the goals of the explorer, but the experience. So circle the experience of the Native American person might have had in this encounter. So I want you to write about how, what do you think you would have experienced if you were a Native American person and all of a sudden all these new people decided to come and live at your home, okay? So that's what you're going to be writing about. I'm looking for the perfect paragraph. So remember, the perfect paragraph is a topic sentence, right? And then you're going to give me a detail and you're going to explain, detail, explain, detail, explain, and your closing sentence. So in a sense, how many sentences do we have altogether? Exactly, we need 8 sentences. That is where we're going to stop at for your lesson after you get done reading. I will have it posted on Google Classroom for you to type up. Is there any questions? Perfect.